Comcast.
And now for a bedtime story.
What is it with animated films always starting by using narration to construct themselves as some sort of fairy tale book fable? Snow White was 87 years ago, f***ers. Learn a new trick.
It was paradise.
Not for that f***ing butterfly you just showed being welcomed into the dark abyss of nothingness that is death by duck digestion. This is a kid's movie, for duck's sake. Also, remember this moment when you're getting all torn up over the possibility of delicious duck à l'orange. These assholes have to eat too. And this becomes a very different movie if that butterfly turns out to be the late wife of John Tick and he decides to start working again.
And they were eager to discover what lay beyond their cozy little pond. Come on, let's have a look. But Daddy says it's dangerous to leave the pond.
This opening of a dad trying to scare his kids into not exploring the rest of the world is so Finding Nemo that its clear illumination has stopped caring about how transparent their thematic plagiarism is. You think you can do these things, Comcast, but you just can't.
Oh, Dax, don't worry. It's going to be okay.
Thing Kristen Bell said to her boyfriend after the early box office returns for Forgetting Sarah Marshall came in somehow makes its way into the script.
Good night, sweetheart.
Lighting your interior via insects seems like a very unreliable way to get light, especially when you're probably fighting the urge to constantly eat your bulbs. This is not how frogs work. Fill them, you actually have to pump the right hind leg 3 times and then release when ready to shoot. It's like the movie's never operated a super croaker before. Risking injury by doing this unnecessary close-range flyby like you're a bunch of Top Gun mallard dicks.
They seem so mysterious and exotic.
No duck will acknowledge that this adventure is kicked off by the fetishization of the unknown. It's clear from this shot and the reverse shot that the door to these ducks' home faces out over the expanse of the pond. Earlier, when the lightning bug left, it only had a little bit of water to cross before being in complete forest. And don't give me any of that back door, front door bullshit, because you can tell by the single extending branch that the 2 doors are the same doors. This pond is a pond of lies.
So you don't go anywhere for the winter?
Nope.
You should totally come with us.
Inviting someone to flock around when you just met them 10 seconds ago. At least get their name first. What the kind of ducks are in this flock anyway? I did a single Google search, and I think that makes me an expert enough to say that there is no species of duck that has hummingbird-type coloring like this over this much of their body. Plus, don't duck species usually have different feather coloring for the males and the females of the species? I'm just saying Daddy Mac may be right not to trust this crew. They look suspiciously like they've been made up by an overeager animation team rather than crafted by natural selection.
Have a nice trip.
Have a nice pond.
Wow, that really is a dick thing to say.
Have a nice pond. Who says that?
And Mac doesn't get credit for recognizing this.
I'm so sorry you can't have babies with her.
This infertility C-plot will be completely abandoned.
Mac, I don't want to miss out on life because you're afraid to leave this pond.
Then just go. Last time I checked, a marriage didn't have to be doing all of the every single thing together. Live your best life, Pam. You got this.
You really need to open your eyes, Mac, before you miss it all.
This sudden tension isn't supported at all by the montage of familial bliss we were spoon-fed a few minutes ago.
Uncle Dan, what are you doing here?
Sitting on your uncle without realizing it.
And you'll end up just like me. Happy.
Yeah.
Healthy.
Yeah.
And totally alone.
And this realization is all Mac needs to completely change a core element of his personality. The problem is the movie hasn't told us why Mac developed his agoraphobic tendencies to begin with. So this change of heart means absolutely nothing except plot can start plotting now.
For our big, super fun family migration.
More like a big super fun family roll credits. Sorry, movie, I can't focus on whatever bullshit you want me to hear right now because I've become totally distracted by these ducks occasionally having teeth. I'm pretty sure ducks don't have big human pearly whites under those bills. I'm even more sure they don't appear and disappear will. Now all I can think about is ducks with retractable human teeth, and it's all your fault, movie. Please.
Why are we the only birds heading this way?
Great question. But let's not ask any of the other birds and just continue on into the storm so we can drum up some contrived comedic controversy 5 seconds into this road trip.
This is the kind of thing we'll remember for years to come. We'll look back and laugh.
And now, as if on cue, an animal that is usually a predator encounters our travelers, but will not end up eating them, but instead will chant at a support group, "Ducks are friends, not food." Okay, fine, I made up that last part, but the fact that you believe me for a second tells you all you need to know about this cut and paste endeavor.
Hello, little ducks.
Movie thinks that casting the amazing Carol Kane to do a voice will somehow earn them a reprieve from me, and somehow the movie is right.
But maybe herons are not good enough for you? Mallards?
No, of course not. We're happy to stay.
Teaching your kids how to properly be pressured into an uncomfortable situation.
What do? Rip you apart, then eat you?
Nope, if they can, they usually just swallow you whole. Because of your question, I just accidentally watched a heron absolutely snarf an entire duckling, and honestly, this movie will want us to eventually believe that Mac was wrong to want to stay home and be safe, but he was not. This talking animal movie is supremely casual about insect murder.
There's no way we're sleeping in that.
He says, as if completely aware that it's a cooking utensil, because if there's one thing we all know about ducks, it's that they are huge fans of the bear.
Sleep tight. Don't let the bedbugs bite.
Great, now I have to figure out where these two herons get their lantern oil to keep this lantern in use. They occasionally migrate down to the Amazon.
What about Uncle Dan?
It's fine. When they wake up, they'll eat him. That'll give us more time to lose. Ah!
Mac is willing to let Uncle Dan die, and it's funny because they just have that kind of relationship.
You shouldn't have gotten out of your beds. Nighttime is when predators like to feed.
During this entire misunderstanding, Aaron is trying to help them, yet continues to say creepy things instead of just saying, I'm not going to eat you, I'm trying to save you from a random catfish that I somehow knew would be in here.
He was about to gulp you in one bite.
That's right, catfish also eat ducks whole. And I once again accidentally myself into a video proving it. Ducks are clearly the rabbits of the water world, and their place on the food chain continues to make this movie a horror film and a cautionary tale about listening to your spouse.
It's a joke!
Oh!
It's a joke!
CinemaSins defenders. Wait, is that sin? Well, can't argue with that.
Guys, come up! You have to see this!
Better come take a look at this cliche. Clouds do not stick to faces like this. Unless those aren't clouds, in which case, ew. Understanding human cookware, but not the concept of reflections. New York City notably has very few alleyways, and on day one, they managed to stumble upon the famous one, where all the New York City cop shows always find a body. I'm so jealous. Making donuts so bad, you have to discount them twice, put them on clearance, and they still don't sell.
Uncle Dan?
Yeah, it's me! It's Uncle Dan!
Considering ducks have worse hearing than humans, I'm calling all the bullshit on either of them hearing this duck call and response from this distance.
He would have wanted us to go on without him.
Mac, a devoted family duck, continues to try and abandon a member of his family. Makes no sense, but I guess it's funny. This sub being this untouched after being dropped in Central Park for any amount of time.
Pigeons.
That's not surprising because all ducks are racist. It's true. Look it up.
Get out of here, you trashy vermin!
Horribly racist. Every last one of them.
Come here, pumpkin.
Allowing Awkwafina to continue her quest to voice a character in every single animated movie ever made without thinking of the consequences. Someday you're going to throw in your copy of the Aristocats and wonder why Duchess sounds like that quiz lady woman. And don't say I didn't warn you. Synchronized spitting.
80-20.
60-40.
70-30.
65-35.
68-32.
Here's a 100 cents because I don't give a flying duck how you split the sandwich. They eventually agree to split the sandwich 67-33, which means that this piece should be 67% of the sandwich. But after doing a detailed comparison of earlier where he is holding the whole sandwich, I have decided that I can't understand why they are quibbling so much over what is clearly a vegetarian sub.
We're trying to get to Jamaica.
Yeah, that's in Queens, right?
More south.
Oh, so Pam, the small pond bird that has been in Manhattan for 10 minutes at most, is an expert on the boroughs now? How far south then? Canarsie? Coney Island? Far Rockaway?
Like the Caribbean.
Oh, that Jamaica. I got a buddy who knows that place like the back of his wing.
Of course you do. Is his name Crush? Does he say righteous a lot? F this movie.
Just stick close to me and everything will be all right.
Chump survives this, and the audience survives this joke being run into the ground for all the some time. Understanding negotiating tactics, but not the concept of 3D space.
And what is that?
Oh, that's just Chekhov's helicopter.
Like a predator, except instead of eating you, he feeds you to a group of much lazier predators.
Aliens versus Predatory, no reservations.
Send me some feather.
Calling talons feathers.
Do I know the way to Jamaica?
It's a valid question since you were likely brought here against your will in some kind of crate, and no tropical birds I know of regularly migrate north to New York City.
Fly due south for 3 miles, then due east for 1 mile, due west for 10 miles, then you southwest for 1 mile, south-southeast for 2 miles, and south-southwest for the rest of the way.
Two things. One, 90% of this is just flying around Staten Island. Two, I'm pretty sure these directions take you to Cancun. Also, I apologize, but once I tell you that this character is just Sebastian from The Little Mermaid's voice inside Iago from Aladdin's body, you will not be able to unsee or unhear it. The damage has now been done. Try and live as normal a life as possible.
We could get the key.
No, kid. That's impossible.
Why?
Long answer? Because they're trying to stretch this to feature length and need to throw in yet another side quest for your family so it feels like something's actually happening in the plot. Short answer?
The movies.
Sidling along a see-through barrier as if that will keep you from being seen by anyone looking toward you from any direction in the entire room. Can someone explain the motivation for keeping your birdcage key with you at all times? Or why you would fasten it to your coat pocket exterior with a red ribbon? Does the chef purchase his clothing exclusively from the Marc Jacobs escape room collection? When did Pam have time to pass Mac, find, and hollow out this pineapple? And or why is this restaurant hollowing out pineapples? Ducks in these disguises are more conspicuous than just ducks. In the standard book of important fire safety measures, right between never throw water on a grease fire and stop, drop, and roll, sits the much lesser known never point your unpinned fire extinguisher toward the wall when it can be set off by nothing but the weight of a duck and it has the propulsion power of a medium-sized rocket even when it's completely free of anyone operating it. I'm mostly glad they don't get eaten, but these duckheads just ruined the entire kitchen staff's day and made sure that everyone waiting for food isn't getting served for a very long time. These two will just stand there and let Salsa Tuesday develop around them for effect instead of just continuing to run out of the room while they still can.
Whatever you're doing, keep doing it!
Note to self, when in danger, immediately break out into intricate dances I've never learned or should even know exist. Got it.
No, more to the right. To the right and quick.
Putting pressure on someone when it's their first time. Susan.
Come on, kids! Together!
Family Heimlich maneuvers.
Bird eater incoming!
Watch out, boy, he'll chew you up. Sorry. But also, he's a bird eater, making duck sauce with the bone broth, make you want all his grub. He's a bird eater, making carrots, make you cut carbs. Wish you never had red meat at all. Not sorry. Balloon bursts to let the air out of all the tension they're drumming up. Being so fed up with your partners that you just finish yourself without considering their feelings. Susan!
Oh, I'm not that.
I'm not that brave.
Thinking you can cough out helium this quickly. Woohoo! This celebration goes on so long that it should have ended up being premature when Jon Favreau's character from Chef finally caught up with them on the roof because they didn't just leave when they had the chance.
You are one heck of a bird.
That's really nice of you to say, chump. Just curious though, why have you and your army of pigeons never tried to break Delroy out before today? Sweet! So now that Delroy is leading them to Jamaica, there are no more pit stops to take, and we should be done with the movie in no time. Can you imagine if they tried to do another side quest by pretending that the birds had to land for a potty break? Glad that would never happen.
Whatever you're expecting over there, it's going to be even better.
Delroy apparently went to the WB school of setting expectations too high like they did with The Flash, even though anyone with a nose could smell that pile of a movie coming from a mile away. Of things.
It's gross.
It's not gross. We're birds.
It is gross. You're birds.
Follow me and stay close.
With one victory under their belts, this family of ducks decides to ignore the line between adventure and trespassing.
But just in case, get out your talents.
I ain't sure ducks have talents, though.
Gwen would be absolutely precocious at birdfoot sins.
Our morning relaxation as we prepare for the glorious Erlen May to open the gates to paradise.
So the food doesn't know it's food and sees they're waiting to be shipped to the restaurant as paradise? Are we just doing sausage party now? I'll give all the sins back if the next scene is a duck orgy, just to feel something again. I swear I will. Is it just me, or is giving ducks flotation devices a bit redundant? It would be like giving kangaroos a trampoline, or an alligator scuba gear, or cats asshole lessons.
I don't think we can possibly stay here without having the best time of our lives.
Dads.
Ow! Uncle Dan!
Where the f are all these shovels coming from? Is it more convenient that this just happens to be a supplier for the psycho chef these ducks have already run into? That today just happens to be the day of the duck collection? That a famous, powerful chef would attend a duck delivery in person? Or that these farmers happen to stack all these hay bales in stair-step fashion to see over the fence? Discuss.
Delroy is the sea dragon now.
Speaking of Delroy, he's been dying to get back to his homeland for years, and now he's just content to stop and chill by the pool? He knows Jamaica is even better than this, so why is he putting up with this bullshit?
Guys, we need to rest. Follow me.
I know exactly where to land that will be the perfect setting to prepare for the third act conflict and climax of the movie. Trust me. This chef has such a duck revenge boner that he's hunting for him via helicopter spotlight, and somehow this will work. But wasn't he just flying this thing? I mean, sure, autopilot, blah, 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 but why would you leave the pilot seat when all you needed to do was push the button to drop the net? Someone may be a bit of a drama king, methinks. Do I need to remind you which movie ends with a parent being trapped in a net to be taken away and eaten while their child looks on from outside? I do not think that I do!
Gwen, you're a genius.
She is not.
You were right.
We never ever should have left the pond.
The end. Thanks for watching all.
You never give up on anything. You haven't even given up on me.
This marriage was on the rock storyline has provided such little proof that I don't know what the he is even talking about. This is entirely too much commotion for Bradley Cooper's character from the movie Burnt to not notice this. Almost none of the time they are doing this vaudeville act are they actually holding the cage up.
Together.
Regurgitating your salsa.
Eat this.
Uncle Dan survives the recoil of ejecting a squash of this magnitude from his throat. So Psycho Chef and the caged ducks fall out of the helicopter and the net falls out after them. And then I think I'm supposed to believe that the net independently captures the chef somehow while Mac also grabs the chef's ponytail with his webbed foot? Do I have that right? What the movie? Look at this picture. There is no world where this becomes this. No world, I say. Ducks did not produce tears. They just don't have the proper duck ducts. Goose. This bullshit. Good thing Uncle Dan was paying attention. Otherwise, Gwen would have been starring in an avian remake of Open Water. Like I said, too bad Uncle Dan was paying attention.
We're almost there, everyone. I can feel it.
Movie is only using this premature celebration to stall for time. Otherwise, this turkey would barely crack an hour and 15.
The water.
It's glowing.
These dumb ducks don't know shit about phytoplankton.
Dad, come look.
So they weren't lost at all. Jamaica was just being obscured by the movie's refusal to end.
Heads in bake-off mode.
The British, when they try and make us believe that they have any authority in the culinary world by judging who made the best malt loaf. Movie is entitled Finding Rio. Tell me you'll never let go. Oh, baby, I promise to hold on to you for the rest of our lives, which is not going to be very long because we've chosen to hold feet instead of doing anything about the falling.
Better late than never, right?
And, of course, they land right next to the family from the beginning because Jamaica is apparently the size of a dinner napkin.
Your wings, they're beautiful.
And possibly an abomination.
Thank you.
For what?
Almost getting the family killed, obviously.
Opening my eyes.
You gotta be f***ing kidding me. In case you confused it with the movie ending.
The toothpick wants to come.
Recycling your character model for Scrat because you didn't want to draw an actual alligator.
I just met these birds who are totally lost and said we'd help them get home. What do you say?
Threatening us with a Penguins of Madagascar crossover sequel.
Let's talk itinerary. I say Costa Rica, Panama, Amazon River.
Because all ducks are well versed in geography and know the precise names humans choose to identify the random chunks of land.
There's cheese in this sandwich.
I'm gonna be real with you, all right? I burned down my friend's house.
Now, wait a minute. You know, this is the low rent district, remember?
It's a 2-bedroom rental. It's beautiful, and I don't know where to go. I have nowhere to go.
Boy, your eyes are like sapphires. Gee. That's pretty corny, though, huh?
I'm not wearing pants.
Pam, it's a heron. A psycho killer.
Qu'est-ce qu'il sait?
I hear you want to join our migration?
You say?
You have to see this.
Whoa, 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 hey.
Nothing like a little 30-knot crosswind to exercise the old sphincter muscle.
Okay, I think there's a slight misunderstanding here. Eyes bright, chins up, smiles on. I'm talking to you, Katniss.
Oh, I'm not that.
Don't even think about trying to escape.
And now, the egg position.
Why don't you come down here so I can suck your pretty boy?
I'll tell you what happened. I told him to stay back, and he almost got himself killed.
But Dad, I was trying to help.
You think you can do these things, but you just can't, Nemo.
We are going to show them that when danger strikes, you do not run from it. You take
A protest dump.